Hello, welcome back to the channel. And in this video we're going to talk about brands. Well, one brand in particular, and it's one of those brands that seems to have been around, well, as long as I have. It's one that's always been there, a bit like Heinz, Kellogg's, or Burghouse, or Carrymore. And that is what I want to talk about in this video. One of those brands and some gear that you can really depend on when the weather is like it is at the moment. Well, it certainly is a warm one today, and it's something we've got to increasingly get used to, I guess. If I'm in the woods, it doesn't really make a great deal of difference. I tend to have a clothing system that I can use year round. If it's winter time, I put lots of layers on. Over the top of that, I have a windproof set of what I call my environmental layer. It's a windproof smock and a set of baggy combat trousers. And in the summer, when I'm in the woods, I tend to use just that, the baggy trousers, the baggy smock with nothing underneath, and the air circulates around my body as the clothing flaps around, causing a bellows effect. It gives me environmental protection, it gives me protection from the sun, and it gives me pockets and things to carry stuff in. But it's not suitable for all situations. On a day like today, if I can't get the shade of the trees and I'm out in the open, then I might need to make some different clothing choices. And it's those clothing choices that I'm going to talk about today, and in particular the brand that I use, which is a brand called CRAGHOPPERS. So as a brand, CRAGHOPPERS seem to have been around as long as I have. In fact, they have been around exactly as long as I have, because they were created the same year I was born, 1965. Created by two outdoor enthusiasts, I think they were Yorkshiremen, and their aim was to produce good quality outdoor clothing. And they've pretty much stuck to that over the years. They've had a little foray into rucksacks and other stuff, but they're mainly known for their outdoor clothing. I've been using their stuff since about 1996, I think was the first product of theirs that I bought. And ever since then, it's been pretty much my go-to travel clothing for when the weather's like this, or if I'm hill walking, if I'm out where I haven't got the shade of the trees, I'm out exposed to the elements, then it tends to be the CRAGHOPPERS stuff that I go for. Now, one of the reasons I really do like CRAGHOPPERS clothing, and always have done since about the mid-90s, is it has a lot of very well thought out features. Now, this shirt, for example, it's one of their Nosy Life shirts. It's made of a very lightweight ripstop material, but more about that in a moment. But the actual features on it, it has full long sleeves which roll down. It also has these little button-up tabs to make sure that when you roll them up, they are up and out of the way. We also have a little pocket over on this side for keeping small items close at hand. On the subject of pockets, it also has fairly standard 2 chest pockets with these little bellow pleats in them. And those are buttoned down. And one of the things I've noticed with the Carrymore stuff, I've never had to re-sew a button on. Strange but true, never ever. They've always stayed in place. As well as these 2 pockets and the one on the sleeve, it also has a little chest pocket on one side. In fact, it's not so little, you can fit quite a lot of stuff in there. So if you are travelling, i.e. through airports, etc., and you need documents close at hand, what could be closer than that? It keeps them where you need them, when you need them. It also has, inside one of your chest pockets, an extra security pocket, which is this little zipped pocket in here, and it's, as well as the zip, it has a little tiny clasp on the end which locks to a tiny D-ring inside. So if you're carrying something valuable, like a wad of notes or something, or your passport, it will fit inside this pocket in here, and it's held securely. A person going for your valuables not only want to go through this button pocket, but also this little clasp on there. So useful, practical features. Also, if you're out in the open, and like me, I tend to have a ball cap. I don't go for one of those big, broad brimmed hats very much. I tend to go for one of these. Well, that can leave the back of my neck exposed, but on this, as well as just the standard collar that you can turn up, it also has an extension on the back, so it's giving the back of your neck all that extra sun protection. So it's a very, very well thought out gear, and this shirt is fast becoming one of my favourite warm weather shirts. It dries really quickly. Inside it's got, as well as a little hanging tab inside the collar and one on the back, it also has some interesting little clip hangers. So if you've washed it, or if it's got soaking wet and you need to dry it out, you can just hang it up on these two little clips. Use an improvised washing line, a stick, whatever you like, but it's set up for travel. On the subject of the fabrics, well, as I said, they're ripstop, they're lightweight, they're set up to be very, very fast drying. They're also sunproof, so it helps to give you protection from the sun's rays. It's also insect proof, and that's not because of the tight weave or the thickness of the fabric. Indeed, it's very thin fabric, but they also managed to incorporate in the fabric something called permethrin, and they call this particular range the Nosy Life or Nosy Life, and it's designed to keep mosquitoes and biting insects at bay. Now, as I said, I've been using CRAGHOPPERS stuff for many, many years, since I think about 96 or 97, I think was the first product I bought of theirs, and it was a pair of their solar dry convertible trousers, you know, the ones with the zip off legs that convert to shorts. Great idea, I thought, at the time. The solar dry fabric, they've changed slightly. It was a bit more open weave back then. 2 cargo pockets, 2 standard hip pockets, and then 2 button down pockets that were also secured by a zip at the back. Now, those trousers I still have and I still use. In fact, I went away to the Med earlier in the year with my wife and my family, and my wife said, "Oh, what stuff do you want me to pack you in for travelling in?" And I said, "Well, just put my usual travel trousers in, you know, the grey ones, the ones that I've had for years and years, and they are still going strong. They are brilliant, they are well thought out, they're hard wearing. As I said, I've never even had to sew a button back on." Now, the ones that I'm wearing today are their Kiwi shorts. I've had a set of the Kiwi trousers. These are the Kiwi shorts. They are great. You have everything set up for the traveller in mind. You have your usual hand pockets, but behind those you have an extra security zip pocket on each side. You also have the same zip pockets at the rear, which are big enough for a wallet or a cuts kit in my case. And as I said, there's a zip which holds things nice and securely. You've also got a leg pocket on the side, one of these cargo pockets, and it's big enough to take an OS map. Also, inside it's got a smaller elasticated top pocket, which I'm guessing is probably for a mobile phone or your sunglasses. In my case, it's been used for both, but it also has a zip pocket on the front of that that's concealed, that you can't actually see, and it's got a vertical zip, which is really, really good for if you're traveling in a vehicle and you're sat down and it's somewhere you can keep your wallet. Now, if you're traveling on the continent and you're driving, when you're on the motorways, etc., they have tolls every so often, and if your wallet is in your back pocket and you're sat driving and you need to get to your wallet, it's difficult to get to. But with it being in this front area where you can just stuff your wallet in there, and it's held horizontal when you are sitting, you can easily reach in, grab your cards, your wallet, whatever you need from that pocket. The fabric, it's a newer version, I think, of Solar Dry. It's a slightly denser weave, but it's still incredibly lightweight. It's very windproof. It's very, very hard drying. Doesn't stain easily, and all round it's absolutely brilliant fabric and a brilliant, brilliant design. The trousers are exactly the same as the shorts. They're just a bit longer. The other great thing with Craghoppers is the cost. I don't think it's particularly expensive stuff, not for what you get. If you look at brands like Fjällräven, etc., their stuff is expensive. And yes, it is made to last, etc. The Craghoppers stuff is a fraction of the price. I think the last time I looked at some Fjällräven trousers, I think they sort of went from about 125 up to about 155 pounds a pair. Well, you can get expensive-ish Craghopper stuff. Their Kiwi Pro trousers, I think, were about £60 last time I looked. Their standard Kiwi trousers are only about £35 and they last. My Kiwi convertibles I bought, as I said, in 96 or 97 when they very first came out. I've had them ever since. They are still going strong. I think back then they cost me about £35. What can I say? They've lasted that long. So as far as cost goes, it's a fairly reasonably priced clothing brand. Even this shirt, which I can't remember the particular model, I'll try and put it up in the screen if I can find it. It was only £25. The shorts, again, £25. It's not a lot of money for what you're getting. So if this all sounds too good to be true, reasonably priced, well thought out, lightweight, fast drying fabrics, etc., etc., what is the downside? Because there must always be a downside. Well, if it's got any, it's that they are mostly synthetic fabrics and they're not going to be great for use around a fire. Very good in a mountain environment where you need stuff to dry out quick, you need it to be windproof, etc. But for in the woods, if you're around fires a lot, probably not your best choice. However, when the weather's like it is at the moment and you're talking 36, 37 degrees in the shade, are you actually going to have that many fires? Well, probably not. You're probably going to cook on a stove, and if you do cook on a fire, you're going to be keeping it small. So for this time of year, under these conditions, Craghoppers clothing, in my mind, makes an awful lot of sense. So there it is, my quick overview of Craghoppers clothing. I'm not paid by them. This isn't a paid endorsement or advertisement. They haven't given me the gear for free. It just happens to be very good gear that I've used for a very, very long time. And while it's not one of the bushcraft brands per se, it is some bloody good kit, and I thought I'd let you know about it because with the weather like it is, you might be in the market for some of this type of clothing. I think that's everything. Check in the description box for all the usual things, my links to Facebook and Instagram. There's also a link down there to my Etsy shop. Pop over there and have a look. As some of the little haversacks are currently inbound. I'm making a load of those up as we speak. As always, there are the Greencraft patches. There's going to be a few of the minimal scarves coming up as well, including, excuse me, a couple of limited edition ones. Anyway, keep your eyes on the shop for that. I think that's everything. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe.